Legislative Committee at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, July 14th, 2025. Keisha, would you mind saying this invocation?
Heavenly Father, we love you so much. We come to you. We thank you for the opportunity to serve, Lord. Thankful for the folks that we all live in this country, Lord, that has the freedom to elect representatives, Lord. And Lord, I think that the one thing that's on everybody's mind still is the sweet folks in Texas, Lord. I just pray you please just continue to comfort and just be there, Lord, through these weeks and months and years. It's going to be tough, Lord. I pray that you please just keep everyone safe, Lord, throughout that region. And Lord, we love you and we thank you so much. We praise you and we give you all the glory forever and ever.
Without objection, the Law Director's Office asked us to add a master terms and conditions sheet to the agenda for Corson Fire and Security, since we have several accounts with them, I think, for servicing different items. So that's the only. So E. New business E for Corson Fire and Security is just a printout that's on your desk, or it should be in front of you.
So they have a copy. You got one?
Well, not, is it in the packet or is it separate?
No, it was right here. I'm sorry. It was right here, but it was sitting here.
Yeah, I don't have it separate.
They were all right.
Just give it.
Yeah, she got it.
Okay. Where's another one?
Yeah, I'm here. I got it.
And this is for what?
Corson Fire and Security Master Terms and Condition,
Okay.
I guess, contract, for lack of better words. This is from the Law Director's Office, I'm not through this. This is. I can elaborate it. Yeah, we can definitely get to it. Sure. So do I have a motion to approve that addition? Motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Teacher. All fair side? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. Approval of minutes from June 9th, 2025. Do I have a motion? Motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Teacher. All fair side? Aye.
One abstention, I was not here.
And one abstention by Commissioner Schoaf for not being here on the approval of the minutes. All right, recognition of the public. When I call your name, okay. When I call your name, if you wouldn't mind coming up here and stating your name and address for the record, that's permitted this. I appreciate it. You'll have 5 minutes. Start your clock. All right, Mr. Mike McClard.
Mike McClard, 102 Tioga Trail, Hendersonville, Tennessee. I'd like to talk tonight about the resolution of term limits. I've said for years the only way we're going to save this country is if we put term limits in at all offices. I mean, you cannot put people in office and let them stay for years and years and years and years and expect anything to change. It's just going to keep miring up in the same mud. We can see it in Congress and Senate, and you can come right down the list of the states and then down to the counties and down to the cities. I mean, it's just, it's baffling. And the argument is, and I saw somebody wrote it out that, well, we have term limits already, but that's why we have elections. Yeah, but it's awful hard for an incumbent to get voted out. When they're in the pockets of the developers and all these special interest groups, and they're being pushed by them to get donations, so they can get donations. You come mired down in it. I mean, a few years ago, Senator Frist, with the HCA family, he ran for office, and he said, I'll run 2 terms. That's all I'll serve is 2 terms. And that's exactly what he did. 2 terms, and he was out. And that's the way it should be. I also saw written that, and on Facebook, you get a lot of news off Facebook, but you can also read one of the commissioners saying that, well, you're going to have too much turnover, that you have new people coming in and they're not experienced. I don't think there's anybody here in this room who can't figure out how this works. Now, you may not know the ins and outs, you may not know parliamentary procedures and all that, but there's a man sitting right there that will straighten you out if you need to be straightened out. I can only think of one person on the commission that I wouldn't mind serving until he decides not to. That's Mr. Hyde. He can serve as long as he wants to, in my opinion. Everybody non-agenda items. You know, there's so many people that have things they'd like to say, but they don't feel like they can say them. It might not necessarily be what's on the agenda tonight, or when they have full commissions, but if there's something that they need to bring up to the body, so be it. Let it be. I know it's going to take a long time. So sometimes these meetings run way longer than they should, but that can be corrected too. But if a citizen has a complaint or has an issue, they should be able to discuss it. I mean, that's why we have elections. That's why you guys and everybody else, when they meet the full commission, we're elected to represent the people. I mean, it says it right there on my shirt, we the people. And I mean, if you want to look at two bodies, and that kind of rolls back to the previous resolution, that do not listen to the people and have basically no fear of not being reelected, you can look at City of Hendersonville, City of Galveston. I've sat in both those meetings and listened to them, and people, citizens, come up and speak about what they see is wrong and what needs to be happening, and nothing is done. They vote them down, talk them down immediately. I mean, there's so many things in this country that in this county that we have going for us. Let's try to correct a few things.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next up, Mr. Kevin Baker.
Kevin Baker, 424 A.B. Wade Road. I love that, man. I'd like to talk to the two same items, but I got a little different spin. Regarding the term limits, I 100% agree. And my spin is this. So because a couple of years ago, this body voted to basically include commissioners as part of the TCRS, Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System, you get credit now for every year you're a commissioner. You don't make a lot of money, but so you're here 20 years, it's not going to add to much. But imagine if you were commissioner for 20 years. Next thing you know, you get appointed to be a building inspector or something like that, making $80 grand a year. Now your TCRS is all based on that $80,000 for the last 20 years. Even though you're only in that position for 2 years, 3 years at best. But you're going to get paid as if you were that person for the 20-something years, because that's how the retirement system works. Same thing, or if you were a county commissioner for 20 years, then you run for one term and you become, I don't know, dog catcher, making $80,000, $90,000 a year. Or how about county mayor, as some people have. And you now get credit for that term based on that salary. That's just wrong. You know, talk about feathering your own bed. So I think Mike's onto something. Term limits, generally I don't agree with term limits, but I think in this case, especially because we don't have a state law. Think about this. At every other level of government, you cannot be an employee of the government and still be on a legislative body. Not at the federal level, not at the state level, not at the local level. But guess what? At the county level, there's a big gaping hole. We tried for years to get a piece of legislation passed, but guess what? They don't want to do that because all the people, including the County Commissions Association, lobbies against it. So I think term limits, we've got to do something, and I applaud it. I don't think it's going to go anywhere because basically it's the same thing. You're not going to do anything to subvert your own positions. But also regarding the public comments, 100% agree. I mean, how can you tell a citizen who comes down here? It's not like I've been doing this for 10 years. Not many of us get up and speak. 5 more minutes of your time to listen to a few constituents, I think it's worth it. So thank you very much.
Mr. Baker. Mr. Christian Shoemaker.
You won't need time. I won't be up at all. I'm going to talk about the same 2 items. Christian Maker, 1018 Silver Maple Lane. As far as the term limits, guys, I 1,000% agree with it. With everything that was said, for the most part, 100% agree that term limits need to be in place. I do agree with the concern maybe of the lack of continuity. The only thing I would say is maybe while we're looking at doing the private action tweaking thing, changing it to where we offset some of our commissioners. You know, districts 1 and 3, odd numbers go this term, even numbers go this term. That way you kind of keep that continuity and that experience level in there. Just my 2 cents as far as the public comments. Agree with everything that was said there as well. Only thing I would say is maybe if it's not on the agenda, limit that to 3 minutes. This will make your life a whole lot easier, and put that time block at the end of the thing, so that way if 30 people show up to talk about 30 different items that are on the agenda can get pushed forth, and those items can go forth, and then if somebody don't want to listen to Betty Sue complain that the neighbor's dog isn't getting picked up by animal control, they can do their thing and head out. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mary Janelle.
Mary John, 1100 Lockport Road, Gallatin. I'm here to talk to you about term limits and the public comment. So on term limits, I have been a commissioner now for 3 years, and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the camaraderie. I've enjoyed the debate, and I have enjoyed a lot of the discussions and issues that have come before us. And I look at running for office as an honor, but sometimes I see people who run for office as just a way to have power, and I'm not interested in power, I'm just interested in making things right. I feel like term limits at two consecutive, like 4 and 4, is enough time. Some people say, well, you know, your first 4 years you're learning. Well, if you haven't learned anything in 4 years, you might as well just forget it. So I'm just saying. And then if you run the second 4 years, then you should be double good at it, right? And you can pass that information on to the next person as a onboarding, offboarding. And that, to me, is great. One thing we don't have is, I like to see a program where people who are interested in being a commissioner or a public office have a way to come to a meeting in a mentorship program where you learn an apprentice, so that you understand things like that. Robert's Rules of Order, I learned those when I was a director at a hospital. I wasn't very good at it, and I'm not good at it now, and I probably will never be. Because, I just think that Robert was a little bit too strict. So, you know. But I do believe in term limits. I think it's a wise idea, because when people vote, they don't pay attention. They vote for a letter behind someone's name, a D or an R. Of course, you know, D's never happened in my house. But I'm just saying that they're not educated to the point where they really know. And I think it's good to have a clear view of, we need, I guess it's the word, kind of like me going into retirement. I think we need people that will be able to continue to be in the future and not sit in a seat and be glued to it for years and years and years because they want power. The second thing is the speaking on public comment. I agree with that. Gallatin, I go to city council meetings. They don't really like me, but they have, you know, comments about the agenda and what's happening in the beginning. And then at the end, if you have something else you want to talk about, they'll let you come up and speak about that. They don't comment on it, but they do let you speak about it. And they listen. They maybe listen. And then, you know, you go home. I think it's a good idea because it's on record. For example, I had a house that was getting flooded. And I went at the end of the meeting and told them about it. And they listened, wanted to know the address. And so I was able to do that because there wasn't anything on the agenda for me to comment, and it needed to be done quicker than later. I wasn't getting anywhere with stormwater people. So as far as public comment, we shouldn't be afraid to hear what our constituents say. And if we have to stay a little later, I know a lot of you have fire in your butt. You want to get out at night after the commission's almost done. You're tired, you want to leave. And I don't know how many people will stay really late until the end, because our meetings go really long. The people that stay and that really want to have their voice heard should have an opportunity to do that, and I think it's a good idea. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, that concludes public comments. For the chairman, I have none. For the county mayor, she's here. Item A, old business, 8A. I'll make a motion for discussion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This is something that we talked about last month, and basically the recommendation was to defer this until this month or until any questions on that three-star grant about convention centers was clarified or moved in competition, with private sectors. This has been a hot topic for a long time since I've been on the commission. Is not competing against the private sector with taxpayer funds against themselves. And the county mayor actually sent an email saying that to remove it, that the program is already filed with the state and commission approval is not necessary. So I was surprised to hear that. I don't know, Mr. Water, do you have any insight to that at all, or about this program? So I don't know if anybody else does, but just wanted to call that out. I knew there was concerns with that, and then it was on the agenda, and I don't understand how the county mayor was thinking he needed approval and then wanted to, I guess, bypass it. It's already filed with the state. So I'm disappointed to hear that, and I'm disappointed that he's not here to answer those questions directly. So unless anybody have any other further questions or anything.
I just want to say for the record, I'm glad that you kept it on there because I think it's a great point. I don't know how that can happen without commission approval, but I don't know. Maybe we'll find out some more insight.
Commissioner Jones.
Can I just ask anybody at the table, does anybody have any idea how that could go to the state? Has anybody heard anything from the mayor on that? Anybody? Okay.
Can we make a motion to pull it back from the state?
Can we do that? Or can we at least ask the mayor to explain that to us? It's going to come before. No, it's not going anywhere.
Commissioner Beth.
Since he's not here, the mayor, let's keep it on old business and move on. And then next month, maybe he can answer us.
Here's what I'll say, if the county mayor is at the budget, because it's a grant, I will move to put it onto the budget agenda in a few minutes.
Okay.
So I'll ask.
So without objection, we'll remove this from full business for legislative, and Commissioner Shep will put it on budget. Is that something?
I'm just gonna, I wouldn't remove it yet, because he may, I don't know if he's gonna be
Without
there.
objection, we'll take Commissioner Becker's recommendation, keep it on all business, and see if he'll.
I'll add it.
All right. We'll move on. All right, item B is the discussion about the facilities tax. I'll make a motion for discussion. All fair say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mr. Water, you said that you were going to come back to us with some information or points to consider regarding this. This new legislation that was written and passed during the 24 session last year, not the 25 session of the Tennessee General Assembly, of changing the attic facilities tax to $150 per square foot for both residential and commercial versus the current 40 split that we're in. I was upset on the side of this legislation. The way the bill was written, I didn't think it was a great bill.
No, it wasn't.
Everybody get his hand up from below.
So basically, this is me summarizing everything. I put quite a bit of time into researching this and what we're currently operating under. This does require us to get comptroller verification to make this change. There'll need to be a resolution with a first reading 2/3 vote, county legislative body. Then there'll be a second reading needed with a 2/3 vote. Capital improvement program needs to be put in place prior to implementation. Let's see. And then we would have to monitor continued county population increases. So I believe the caps we were looking at were $1.50 a square foot for both residential and commercial industrial. Is that the way I understand it? Okay. There is a cap up to 150,000 square feet of commercial property. The rates can never be increased more than 10% after the initial 4-year period or 4-year period since the date of the last increase, and must be adopted by a 2/3 vote. That's assuming we jump through all these other hurdles to get this we do not maintain a 20% growth rate over each census period, that will leave us without an adequate facility tax, period. So we go from $1.50 to nothing, or we end up capped.
What end up capped meaning what? Stays at
What it was, or whatever it was prior to.
But those are two different things.
So how does it go to nothing?
Yeah.
If it's capped, it can't go to nothing. Or I'm not understanding it correctly.
If you don't have to grow.
Yeah, so pursuant to
Or it's capped.
67, well, we're capped, and if we lose that pursuant to 2907, that could leave us without an adequate facilities tax, period. Because we don't have the growth to keep us in this new system that we decided to be a part of. The only way we're able to get in there is with the 20% growth based on the census.
So it doesn't cap it, it reverts back or nothing?
No, I'm saying there's two things that are happening. One is we're getting capped, and then we're running the risk of losing it all together when we cease the growth rate. And let me just run through the rest of that real quick, then I'll entertain the questions, because I really don't think you all are going to want to head down this road anyway. The county must repeal the current private act we're under. And once we repeal it, we can never get back under it. It's dead. And then that's where if we fall below the 20% growth implementation and go under this new act, then we run the risk of having nothing if we don't maintain a growth curve. And then we also, there were some questions as to whether our state legislative delegation would sponsor repeal of the private act for us to put that in play. So basically on the backside is the highlights of it. The private act already in place requires no additional action to continue collecting adequate facility tax under the terms.
Say that last part again?
It's under highlights. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Number 2.
And then, and also, currently, uncollected AFTs from builders becomes the responsibility of the municipality under our act that we're currently operating under. So if the builders do not pay the AFT, the municipalities become directly responsible for reimbursing the county, and then the municipality has to figure out how they're going to collect the money. If we kill the act, then that all falls on our lap. And I'll give you an example. Right now, we're currently in discussions with Hendersonville because they currently owe us $225,841
Because they did building permits without collecting.
They did not get the taxes collected nor refer them here. So as the law, the private act stands now, and in the law, we can actually put Hendersonville on the hook. They've got to pay it, and then they go figure out how they're going to collect it from the developer.
Did you get all these, or?
I did started to entertain some questions there. Appeals process set out in section 11. This goes away forever if we adopt the AFT procedure. So basically, it's a restatement of what I said before. Was if we adopt and implement a new one, the old one's gone and we can never get it back. And then currently we're at 70 cents a square foot on residential, 40 cents a square foot on industrial development. And that does cover most of our commercial development. So this is in a nutshell. I had put this together several months ago when this first came up, so I'm kind of hitting a little bit this cold, and we didn't have a opportunity to kick it around for me to further research any specific avenues of it, but that's basically where we stand if we attempt to implement this. It is a very laborious process to implement it. Once we do it, we lose the old one, and we lose any perks that were associated with the old one.
So I feel like this is, so one, I just want to confirm, because this sounds a little bit nuts, that if we were to repeal the old one. So the process is repeal the current adequate facilities tax, system. We adopt this one. If we do that, your argument is by repealing the old one, because we do not have we would no longer have an adequate facilities tax reverter should we fall beneath 20% every decade. That's the argument that you're, okay. So it sounds to me like this is one of these things that it's like started off to be helpful to let you gain more adequate facilities tax for, high growth areas, which, on the surface, I think we would probably be like, hey, we're fine with that. But what this is doing is like the opposite. Well, it's requiring you to grow in order to do that.
It is a terribly
And then it makes it more difficult for, what we have said is that, I think very consistently, is that we're trying to bring more commercial, stuff here as opposed to just sprawling residential. This brings them both up. I mean, I don't know, man, like, I don't know that 20% growth. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna move to deny this.
Okay.
I have a question.
We have a motion, and we have a second. So, Commissioner Jones.
I just wanted to ask this, if we went to vote, how long has Hendersonville owed us that? $225,000?
This is fairly new. We just, codes came up to us and said we've been auditing some of our, the building that's been going on. So this probably 2 months we've been dealing with this one.
Did they start auditing because we were discussing this, or just?
No, this is independent, just coincidence.
Okay. I was wondering if we had missed out on things previously, since cities were responsible to collect it for us.
No, but I believe that we'll, once we get some resolution to this, it will trigger a deeper audit.
Okay. That's my point.
My question, I think you were saying this, but I was reading and listening at the same time, and I want to make sure I didn't miss it. So the 225-ish, was it 223, 227, that, whatever it is, that Hendersonville owed us.
225,841.
At that point, did you say that if we do anything to repeal this, that we can't collect that?
Yeah. Crazy. It prohibits you from collecting from the city.
It makes
The private act's the only thing that gave us the authority to do that.
It didn't prohibit us from collecting the money. It made us responsible to collect it instead of them. We had to take it on ourselves, is what he said.
I should know this, but I would be interested in what our current adequate facilities tax collection is.
Average is 2.8 million a year. This year in the budget says 3.1. So on average, 2.8 million a year.
So, let's say that, this potentially doubles it.
Maybe 6.
Maybe that's just because I want to put this into perspective here. That's 2 pennies. 2 pennies, and it will be flat at that point. So over the course of 10 years, we would get 25 million. 25 million. No, it's about 2.1 because pennies are worth a lot more now. About 1.1. So 25 million over the course of 10 years with a lot of downside. I don't like 2.8. So an additional potential 2.8 million. And I'm doubling that, just being kind of like shooting in the. That's probably an overestimate. That's not 1 year's worth of growth change.
It's still wholly inadequate to pay.
Totally.
That's why I'm looking at it on it, inadequate.
So it's just, do you think worth the squeeze?
Help me, I apologize, help me understand. So the agenda item, HB 2426.
That's the law. Those are the bills that were.
Back in 1999?
No.
2024.
What's on page 8? Oh, it's revision of.
It's basically, I try to include everything that I can find regarding the original, when they did it, to, this was everything related to everything that I could find that Sumner County's done with this since 1999.
Okay, so are we given the option to do one or the other? I apologize, I'm behind the.
Well, that was Commissioner Kleiner brought this up, You know, we've tried several times with the county commission to get the state to change laws
I got it.
to allow us to do an education impact fee like what Williamson County's done. And
This is what they did.
this is what they did instead, which is just worse. In my opinion. I mean, it's like it feels like they're throwing a dog a bone, but when that dog starts sniffing the bone, it's like, I don't know if I like the scent of this bone. And the indigestion I might get from eating it. The biggest problem, I want to make this note, if you guys remember, our director of codes and planning, our codes director, Marshall Wright, sent an email a couple months ago saying, last budget cycle, we increased that rate on that. I can't remember the percentage, ABR, ABB or something percentage. We increased that, which allowed him to hire a new employee, which then allowed that employee specifically goes out and collect out of the facilities tax in county. And they got it from Facebook almost $750,000 in out of facilities taxes from Facebook that we would have gotten had we not done that position. But under this, you could only collect $150,000 of that. And so it's like it caps you to $150,000 on that investment.
On the stuff that you really want to get.
So I did not realize that until I saw you just said that.
Oh, this is terrible. Like, this is straight up, hey, we're going to hook it up for big business.
It doesn't say 100.
Sorry, I know.
Yeah, there was a cap.
150,000 square feet.
Okay, sorry, $150,000. I thought $150,000. Okay, my apologies. Again, first time seeing this document was just 10 out of 10. I 40. I don't know how big Facebook is, but
Time is 145.
That's 40, right, for commercial?
So.
And is it nothing after that, or does it scale down?
I think it cuts off, but I digress.
Where is that?
Anyway, it's just,
In my understanding, it's a solid cap.
So it's like
150.
everything. So if you've got 300,000, that extra 150,000 is no, you can't tax that at all.
okay.
So right now, they were at 40 cents on the full amount.
Correct. Yeah.
Facebook, we went and got a lot of that, so, for example, that kind of industrial complex. But it just, I remember meeting with Mr. Slater last year about this, talked to him in person, and I wasn't very happy about the way they wrote it. They were trying to sell it. I wasn't very sold on it, but I definitely wanted to have a discussion and bring it to light, because we do need a solution. I'm willing to bring back, I asked for a third time about repealing the County Powers Relief Act. I'm happy to bring that back next month, because we do need that to happen at the state level, and we need our state legislators to do it. So probably they've been unwilling to do it. One of them told me that they don't wouldn't want to lose votes, so they don't want to carry it forward because they lost legislation at the state level. I was disturbed by that. And then we had, I guess, some state legislators recently in a GOP meeting said they didn't even realize that we had sent these resolutions to them, which is equally disturbing because we passed it twice, asking them to help us out. So, unfortunately, the state's our state delegation is not paying attention or willing to help the county. So it's a little bit of a catch-22. It's frustrating for citizens, but I mean, the goal is to try to how do you make road pay for itself? I understand the spirit behind this, but in my opinion, it's changing and repealing the 2006 County Powers Relief Act, which is beyond our control, other than continuing to petition the state, which I'm happy to do, and still want to do. But we need state law changed, or we need a private act to carve it out for Sumner County to allow us to do that, which we still could do that, I think. But anyway, we had a vote to deny a motion. Is there any more discussion on this? Is there, Mr. Klein, I know you brought this up. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about it, or?
Yeah, the law as written did not go into this kind of detail. And so, it is horribly disappointing that it's a trap.
Yeah, and we didn't realize that. I mean, you don't interpret that necessarily.
No, it sounded like because we're at the growth rate that we're at, and that is 2% per year, which we've been at for probably 30 years or something close to that. But that doesn't mean it will go on forever. And if our growth can slow down that much, the thing is, 70 cents on a square foot on a 3,000 square foot house is like $2,100. Liberty Creek school system costs us $55,000 per student to build. I don't know that we'd be losing that much, but we would be losing something. And it's just, it sounds like a terrible law. Eric Silver has done the work, and I want to go back to William Slater and talk to him about it, because I don't think he knew what he was voting for when he voted. So.
All right, any other comments? All those say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. Thank you for creating this, Eric.
Yeah.
All right, new business, Madam Surface report presentation. I do not see Mr. Okies, and that will go on docketing for the full commission agenda. Item B, resolution for term limits. Commission make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second. I have a motion and a second by Commissioner Jones. Is there any discussion?
I have a comment.
Commissioner Schiffer.
So I'm going to be for this, but I do at least want to argue the counter narrative, which is, Tim, I think we heard it a couple of weeks ago. At the end of the day, I think a lot of folks in here have heard the phrase deep state, right? And what that really means is that the people who are working in government, right? Like whether it's federal government or state, or the people that interest the people who are paid by the state. Mr. Baker actually made a very good point earlier about how you can morph from one into the other. But the best argument, and again, I'm going to vote for this because I think it's one of these that has a balance to it, and the juice is worth the squeeze. But when you have people who are constantly turning in and out, a benefit of having somebody like Mr. Hyde is that they really understand the machinery of county government in a way that you can't learn. And I appreciate Ms. Janong's comments, but it's having done budget for 3 years, like there are many things I do not understand. I maybe have not enjoyed all of my time on the county commission, but I have learned a lot, and I do not think that I will know enough. I would not leave after 4 or 8 years knowing all that much. And so there is something to be said about having somebody in the legislative body who has been there for a long time. However, I also think that it is healthy and good for society to move people in and out so that everybody understands the machinery of their local government. I would like to see more people do this. Don't think we should be here. I think it would be, in general, better, but I did at least want to outline a couple counter arguments, because there will be people who are against this, and I don't think they're evil for being against it. I don't think they're trying to entrench themselves or enrich themselves. I think there are good arguments against it, and I just wanted to say that I can understand those arguments. Anyway, that was it.
I think it feels like a no-brainer. I mean, I've never had anyone, as far as I can remember, reach out to me that was that was against term limits outside of an elected official or their spouse. I can't think of that, because the thing is, and I think there is some beauty, as my fellow commissioner said, about someone who's been in government for a long time. But I think there's also just the same amount of negative, because if you've ever moved a couch with someone who's a veteran lifter of couches, they might be like, well, we can't get out of that door. But you hire your neighbor who's never moved a couch, and they're moving 2 pianos over their head. They're going to find a way to do it. And I think the thing is, you've got to have more trust and faith in the people than you do in the folks sitting in the seats. And it's that's my whole entire mentality. I've always believed that they're the boss, and so ultimately they should be able to replace me without me even, without anything. I think you're right on some of the things, but I think that having the opportunity just to always turn it up, that one negative in your same thought, the one negative is that you might get somebody who says, well, we're going out, now we can just raise the taxes or something crazy. But that happens anyway. It happens without term limits, so therefore it is what it is. And so I think that we got to give people more of a chance to serve. And just to sum it up, I believe that it would hopefully raise the amount of people who are coming out to vote, and they would see the value in elections and the value in turning it over and somebody always passing it on and passing that baton on, because I've got some great constituents who could run and do as good or better job than I do. So and I know that some of them are listening right now. So I think that's a wonderful thing. And so I would be honored to have some of them as my commissioner too. So, so anyway, all that said, I'm very much for it. And I think that we've got to, I wish we would think about it on an entire thing, because you just made a wise statement. You said that there was someone who's a state legislator who didn't want to do it because they were afraid they wouldn't get reelected. And when you take that off the table, there might be more things to get done around here.
I've got two amendments I'd like to propose. First amendment, it actually ties in one of the comments a few minutes ago from one of the public. Genius idea, so I agree with it. One of the ones I thought of. But anyway, I want to add in here an amendment, and I don't know how we word it, but you understand what I'm going to say is, I completely agree we need to stagger. Instead of all 24 at once, stagger where we're 12. So my amendment would essentially be that, whenever this takes effect, that next election, that the odd number of districts be 2 years, an initial 2-year term, and the even number of districts would be a 4-year term. On that the election that it first comes into, the odd would be 2 years, the even would be 4 years, and then that would then from there on after it be 4. So that's my amendment.
I second that. That's good.
Is that our choice? Is that state law? Is that any kind of charter thing?
That'd be a project.
We can do that?
Is that something that should be addressed in a separate thing, or to not convolute this, or?
I think you're gonna have to address it, to be perfectly honest. My question is, maybe I didn't follow that. Were we wanting to do commission elections every 2 years?
No.
And then eventually have boards staggered every 2?
The initial.
He's correct. You're correct.
You have to do it every 2 years.
Oh, yeah. It'd be 4-year terms.
After the first election.
Yeah, after the first one. So my amendment is that the odd number of districts is on this initial one would be 2 years, and then the even number of districts would be 4 years, and at that point in time,
It's all 4.
It's 4.
So the odd numbered folks are going to have to run back to back.
Yeah, either that or we do 2 instead of 2, we do 6. But I figured 2 would be better.
I'm good with your amendment.
But to my question, can we do that on our own accord? Or is that state, something we have to ask the
We're
state about?
doing term limits on our own. So
This is a private act, asking the state to do that.
So term limits, we have to ask the state too, also, right?
Oh, you're
this is what
we
this
even
is.
get state permission to do that?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
I've been told. Well, we can check that. We can ask the law director, but I've been told yes that we would have to. But
I was working under that presumption, but I do not feel confident to say that's for certain.
I don't know the answer to that question, so.
I've been told that.
So this will be contingent upon our abilities to do it.
Correct.
Yeah, but we're submitting you have to submit a private act to the state.
Correct.
Regardless.
And you were in front of the law.
Yeah,
Since
it's
we're going to push this through, hopefully, then I think it's a good idea to stagger.
Can I ask a question to him?
So the odds, basically your amendment would, of course, everybody is up for re-election in 2026.
Correct.
So, but you're saying the odds would be re-elected again in 28.
Correct.
And then 30.
Yeah.
The evens, 32.
Correct.
And so forth.
And I would, yes.
So whatever the language is to clarify, such as I put language in there at citizen, like number 2, item number 2, you look at that. I put, originally it was just 2-year terms, no matter what.
Yeah.
In clarification, not getting caught in the middle of the cycle, I think this happened in Hendersonville. They didn't know, like, well, if you're still seated when this happens, do you get to run again, or do you don't? Like, and so I thought, out of fairness, to keep it in there, that anybody in this term, only this term, it's just notwithstanding, it only applies to you. And then after, everybody just two terms, no matter when you run, don't care what you've done before. So basically it'd be that kind of thing. Only, I guess, these commissioners or this next group, if your wording, we need to say something like that.
Correct, and my,
Okay.
yeah, my thought would be that 2-year term would not count as one of the 4-year terms that you're mentioning here. So in theory, that person, if they went a 2-year term, they could go ahead and run
So they can
that
get
one
six.
more for, in theory, if they win both times.
But they have to win.
Yeah, they have to,
Yeah, I mean, that's,
if they wanted to, but do you understand what I'm saying there?
So, would the odd person get 10 years? I mean, that's basically what you're saying, I don't.
Instead of 8, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, right now, I guess we can look at scenarios, right? So,
that wouldn't work, because the odd person could get 10, potentially, in that scenario, but if you try to make it even, there's no way for the even to do that. So the odd person could get, but, I mean,
You gotta get on the cycle somewhere.
that's a fair trade-off for having to run twice back-to-back.
yeah.
To my mind.
I
don't know why you.
So I made them, and did you, I apologize.
Yeah.
Did I get us? Okay.
So I understand the concept behind it, because I was thinking through it, just wondering if it would be a great idea. And I love the idea of this, if it were passed, if it were the will of the body to pass it. I think that, like you said, I like that, about this being, this current term being the first term, no matter if you've been in 3, 4, 5, 15, 25 years. It's like,
No, it's not, that's not what it's.
I like that idea though, of where that it wouldn't be like, okay, if for some reason, like, it's my first term anyway, it doesn't matter. So I would think that I would only get one more term, completely fine. But I think that like, somebody like Mr. Hyde, Mr. Becker, you, I would think that it wouldn't just be where that it would apply going forward, like as in this, one more election.
No, this applies, it does. This is, somebody who has been 2 terms or more right now, you get to run one more.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what
I'm
this
agreeing with
is.
that. Yeah, I'm agreeing with that. And so, my other thought is there really a benefit? Because right now, we could all be turned over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if there's a benefit to that, because, I mean, almost everybody was turned over, in this past election anyway, but like 6. So, I mean, if the people want to keep them in, they'll stay in 1 extra term or 1 less, and then once that term limit hits, I mean, we're not going to have everybody be elected for 8 years at a time. It's just probably not going to happen that way. And if it does, so be it. It'll work out. I don't think that's wrong-headed, but I don't think there's anything wrong. It's not that difficult to figure out how we do commission business. You know what I mean? Because I think that we could just, because it gets a little weird with the whole 2 years and 4 years and 4 years kind of thing. So I don't know that I'm supporting it. I might be convinced. I'm not going to just say no, but I think we could just say just straight up and down, if it does it, the next term that for all of us is the last term we can run. And no more even odd kind of situation like that. So I think I would support them.
Would you not?
No, I think I would. Unless.
I just got a question, why'd you pick odd from 2?
Odd, I'm 21st district. If you want to swap them, I don't care.
I'm odd too, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, right. If I run again, it's only going to be 2 more years.
It can't go both ways. You really want to do 4, you really want to do 2. I know that too, I'm odd, also I think we got a good mixture at this table representing odds and evens, so I'm okay with it too. I was curious, any rhyme or reason about it?
We can do paper, rock, scissors. But that's good.
I like all the things that were said with regards to, the challenge of 2 years, kids right back to back, and he gets
That was,
2 years.
I figured we want to vote on one. It's not.
Yeah, well, any other discussion on this amendment? I'm not sure how I feel about it, but, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
How many ayes is that? 3? Tim, Matt, Jerry, I don't know if that's right, but, and then,
So it did not pass.
all in favor, say no.
No, I'm opposed.
I'd like to hear the negative arguments, so I can make a better vote. Nobody said anything negative.
So we have a no, I was thinking about abstaining, I haven't thought about it yet either, but,
Because possibly another amendment can come out of this. Can you guys speak to?
Well, if you want
still
The
negative.
vote's been taken.
I know, but there may be another amendment.
4 votes.
Yeah, votes.
Yeah, and I'm a no.
Are you a no vote, or is not voting? Mr. Chairman, you abstain also?
We can reconsider. Do you have another one?
I do have another one, if that vote is closed. I do think with term limits, staggering them will be a whole lot better, because you're gonna have people turning over regardless. And if you, in this way, once you stagger them, at most, you got 12 turning over. And so from a continuity standpoint, to me, it makes sense. If this passes tonight, I'll have a chance to bring that up again on the floors, or I will. All right, so my next amendment is, so I've been on here for a few years, and conversations I've had along these lines in the past several years back, it centered around more so the, I don't know what districts they are, what district numbers, but like Westmoreland and Bethpage, those areas or whatnot, is sort of finding people that would even be interested in doing it type of thing. And so the comment was made was like, and this is a while back, was like, and I'll bring it forward here, to me, I agree with term limits. My amendment here is instead of 2, that we do 3. That's my amendment. So
3 terms.
3 terms. So term limits, but an amendment to this would be instead of 2 4-year terms, it's 3 4-year terms.
I'm gonna amend that amendment. Well, I'll second it, but I want to get into it.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. What's your
amendment? I'd like to keep it 2, but I've heard that exact same problem, and honestly, having done it, I can sympathize with it. Here's the last thing you want is to get to a place. Mr. Hyde made a comment one time that I'll never forget. You don't want boards to be self-perpetuating. And so the last place we want to get to is to have part of the county that can't find anybody, and then the commission is going to appoint them, I guess. I mean, right? I mean, that's what we would default to. So I do want to avoid that. So I think we can do that with a pretty simple amendment to yours, which is, it is 2 unless no qualifying candidate runs. And in that case, it can be up to 2.
Like it's an empty
If
spot?
it's an empty spot, so then they can.
There's
no second.
I thought about that.
There's no second.
Well, okay, but we're in discussion on things. I had thought about that. My mind couldn't figure out how to operationally make that happen with the timing of pulling papers and everything, but because in theory you wouldn't know that someone's not necessarily qualified to be a candidate until
they pull.
It's too late for you to do it. And so I thought about that very thing. It's like, unless there's nobody else running, but I don't know how you govern that really efficiently. So anyway,
I'm just going to jump in the queue here. So I've heard that excuse state level when it comes to prohibiting county employees from running for county commission or school board. It's a grave conflict of interest. And that was the argument that's used to shut down the beggars who attributed that. And it's the same old argument used all the time. And I will say that I have no doubt that there is a plethora of people waiting to run. But the last election in Westmoreland, there were like 4 or 5 writing candidates with Motown in that. Like, there's people in every, I don't care if you're a country veteran community, I just don't believe that at all. I think that's just a scare tactic. It's false information. It's just blowing air hot air. I don't believe it at all, because I've not seen the evidence, especially what I'm hearing now. So people are interested in running in these small rural communities. There's definitely a lot of people who want to run for offices and available. So I would not be in favor of the 3rd term or any type of candidacy thing. I'd probably be amenable to reconsidering being on the prevailing side, staggering, and adding that to it. I feel like that probably would pass with the commission. I feel like the citizens would want that. I think that makes sense. The county do that. So, but I don't believe you'd ever have a lack of anybody running for doesn't make a difference if you got term limits or not. People are always pulling papers and all these districts are run. End of story. Now, if you wanted to go back to 12 districts instead of 24 districts, increase those, I think that I'd be amenable to bringing that up and changing the districts back to what they were. 2 commissioners per district, 1,000 against 3 districts, and going to 24 districts. So I would be amenable to that. It covers a larger area. I think that's a better solution. We changed something that wasn't broken for any reason. When I tell people we have 24 commissioners in 24 districts, they're like, what in the world? It's crazy. And so we have almost more than anybody in the state. But I would be opposed to that second amendment on that. But
You're opposed to the Second Amendment?
I'll do like to read this real quick. In Federalist 39, James Madison was describing the fundamentals necessary for a Republican form of government, as guaranteed in Article 4, Section 4 of the Federal Constitution, including the elected holding office for a limited period. And one thing that he was talking about is basically a government deriving its power directly or indirectly from the great body of the people, and is administered by persons holding their offices during pleasure for a limited period. And so Madison did make a case for term limits. 80% of U.S. citizens want term limits for Congress. Hendersonville looked at 9 out of 10 people approximately wanted term limits in the city of Hendersonville. Gallup, the same thing. So citizens want this. Nobody believes the argument. I've heard about turnover and if you lose institutional knowledge. I don't believe that either. I think some of the fresh ideas and best ideas come from new people. What I found is to be the opposite is true. Those who are entrenched the longest are the ones that usually acquiesce to department heads and the employees and allow them to run the asylum, so to speak. And it's the people coming in new and fresh are the ones that are going to challenge the status quo ideas, and the ones who are going to fight against the deep state that's in government, those who are coming in fresh. Because all I've seen up here is the people, the longer in here, and the people who come in saying that they're going to fight the machine, they acquiesce and turn into the machine. And I just see that time and time again. And so, there was even a statement by a previous county commissioner last term telling some people that, basically they just do whatever what the department heads want. They don't ask questions, just whatever they want. It's just whatever they ask for, we're going to give it to them. No questions. And so these are people who've been here for a long time, more than 2 terms. And so I've seen the opposite be true. So I think citizens realize the benefit of fresh blood. I'm going to make a motion to, since there's no second to that one. Or you did second it?
I seconded his.
My motion's still.
Okay. Mine didn't get a second.
So we're still on Commissioner Becker's. Do you want to speak to Commissioner Becker's or the main motion?
Commissioner Becker's. I was almost going to vote for that, but the more I think about it, I think if there's nobody stepping up to fill that spot, or there appears to be nobody stepping up to fill that spot, it's going to give citizens courage to step up. Somebody that may not do it otherwise may step up. I don't think it'll go unchallenged or that seat. A young person fresh out of high school may step up and want to do it because they've been studying politics and it's, they want to learn more about it or something. I think it would encourage people to step into that spot. So
You have something?
I don't think it'll go unchallenged.
I'm a little bit cute, but it's going to be after.
I mean, it may be the case that no Republican wants to step up, but a Democrat does.
So open for both. Either one for both.
It's a human being.
Yeah, but it's their day determined.
So,
you can only get Joe Biden for only 4 years, for 8 years at max. So, I mean, that's why I think people want term limits, so they don't want Joe Biden. Thank you for making the greatest argument. I know we should remember that on 28. Commissioner Miller?
I just have a quick comment. I ran because I was sick of who was representing me, not representing me. So I think that, especially if there's term limits, and the public knows that there's term limits, we're going to have more people stepping in to get their values and their goals and how they believe, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. I think you'll have more people running because they know, that person can't be in here for 12 years. So I'm going to get my chance because I can't be in and commit because nobody knows me. So So I think.
You might have $100,000, special insurance development
Well, that
tax.
too, but I was saying, but that's why I stepped up to run, because I was not being represented. And I think if people know, oh, well, guess what, somebody has to do this, because they can't do this anymore, they're term limited, I'm going to say. That's kind of my thoughts on it. So I will not agree to the 3, I think 2 is plenty.
Any more discussion on Commissioner Becker's amendment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
1, no against, no.
No.
All right. Commissioner Hyde, did you vote? Did you abstain? Or did you vote for? No. Okay. So that was 4 to 1. 5 to 1. My apologies.
Did you say you were gonna make a?
I would make a motion to reconsider Commissioner Becker's first amendment on staggering term limits.
Can the second come from everybody, or has to come from prevailing?
So I think it has to come from the prevailing.
I'll second it, that it's reconsidered.
All right, so I have a motion to reconsider, second. All in favor, say aye.
I want to keep one here discussing. I want to hear.
Well, this is just the motion to reconsider.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Miller is opposed. All right, so the amendment for Commissioner Becker's was to stagger the terms, starting with odd being the first during the 2 years, and then we have to run 2 years after that in order for the cycles to get hammered out, which leaves open the possibility of somebody who is in an odd cycle. If somebody ran fresh and new in 26, they could theoretically be 10 years. That term, maybe 2.5 terms, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just kind of, they wouldn't be able to run in that last cycle. I guess that's how it would work. I haven't had a chance to point through this.
Yeah.
I'm a visual person, not auditory, so I have to I write it and see it. That's why I'm understanding copying a little bit more. So, but that's it's just. Anybody disagree with that? Or
Could you explain that again?
Have Commissioner Becker explain.
So I guess there's different scenarios.
A new person running in
So a new person running in 26
In an odd district.
in an odd district wins.
Okay.
Then that would be a 2-year term.
Mm-hmm.
And then, according to this, they haven't had a 4-year term yet, so they would be able to have 2 4-year terms. So in theory, their max would be a 10-year at that point in time if they were to win 3 elections.
Or you change the language to say 2 terms, not 2 4-year terms.
That
changes 6.
Yeah, it'd be 6.
Well, keep it in mind, this is not gonna happen one time.
Yeah, it's a one time.
It's just a odd, which is just a oddity. It's kind of like us getting right. That's why I put the thing up for somebody that run for third. Yet again, whether you've been here 25 years or 2 years, yes, that's the reason why I put that.
And then another, and I don't know what district you.
I'm 23.
Okay, so let's use 23 for an example.
So I've been here 4.
So he's been here 4,
Run again.
and then in 2 years he would run again, or excuse me, next year he would run again and get a 2-year 6.
And then
What I'm saying, he would be eligible to do another 4 years.
That would make it 10.
Yes, correct. So the 2 different scenarios that could potentially be 10 is someone who's currently in their first term.
But if you change the language again,
Yeah.
you could just get maximum 6.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the language. So this is why I guess I probably abstained at first.
Yeah.
The language in section number 2, if you look at it, eligible to seek election to one additional 4-year term, regardless of the number of terms they previously served. So that would put them in the case where they could work 14 years.
Well, so let's say me in District 21.
I'm saying, yes, gave the example of Commissioner Jones, he could be in there for 14 years.
How? No, he couldn't.
Well, no, because you can run, I'm going by language.
What's it say?
Additional 4-year term, and so it's not taking into account a staggered 2-year term. So you could run a 2-year term,
Yeah.
and then, but the point is, this is limiting you to 2 8-year terms, 2 4-year terms, 8 years total. If you run a 2-year term, that doesn't count under 2, so that would be 6 years, and then you could.
You only get one more.
Okay, I guess okay.
Yeah.
I had to talk that through. So.
Yeah. No,
You get the 4 on the first, you get the 4 on the back side, and the 2 in the middle.
Okay, then you still be okay.
Can't
I didn't want to get caught up in language and get like.
No, I get it.
Semantics coming back and biting us on this.
Yeah, I get you. So, but in his case, it would he would be capped at 10 if he won. If he ran and won each time, he'd be capped at 10. Now,
That'd be a one-time thing for everybody that's new from 22 in an odd district. So it would affect 12 people at one time, possibly.
Correct.
The odds of that's very
Do you
low.
want to speak to this amendment?
Yes.
there's another scenario.
I do want to make a motion, but I want to
Okay, go
figure
ahead,
it
explain.
So there's another scenario, is someone like myself who's been here for 3 terms, or will, in theory, I'm an odd number. So I could have that 2-year term, and then according to language, I would be able to get another 4-year term beyond that.
Yes, that's kind of what I was.
That would be like the max scenario. That scenario's not gonna happen in District 21.
Well, no, that doesn't,
But I don't know who's sitting in all the other districts.
that's still only 6 more years though.
True.
We don't count,
Yeah.
it doesn't have anything to do with the previous.
Correct. Correct. It would be
4 or 6.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It would be a max of 6 more years. So just want to make sure
Like drawing a line down the middle of 3 terms.
Yeah. So anyway, that's want to clarify that.
Okay, so I want to make sure I clarify a few things. So I voted to reconsider, not because I supported it, but I believe that just because my opinion differs doesn't mean I want to silence what he's saying. I still want to vote against it. But the thing is I don't think it's a terrible idea. But the reason why I would be against it, and fellow commissioner asked if I clarify some things. So first of all, county commissioners like one of the lowest level of representatives in our entire Constitution, all the way up. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying that as a negative or positive. I'm just saying, well, imagine if we played this out and said, well, if all the county commissioners, all 24 are voted out, or had to turn over, or the term limits hit in a block. Probably only happened one time, but if that happened, we would have nobody that knew how to be a county commissioner. So imagine if we played it out all the way up to president, which is way more important. And imagine if we said, wait, we can't vote this president out because there would be no one who knew how to be president in there. So that's a weird scenario, but I just think that if we can't figure out county commission, but we do figure out president, there's something like weird lopsided. That's number one. Number two, there's 24 of us. So it's like, if it were all 24, surely a few folks would figure it out fast enough to at least say, hey, we need to follow Robert's rules, and there'd be a law director of some sort. There'd be something. Another one, I believe there might be more expense. I don't know that, but if you put into every 2 years permanently having county commission elections, there may be more expense. It probably should have been set up that way in the beginning, but it wasn't. And so therefore, there might be more expense to people, which is I'm completely against for just a frivolous reason to do it. I mean, because it's not like we can't figure it out. It's not like
It's a great question. The budgetary impact, would there be a fiscal impact negatively, cost more taxpayer money?
yeah.
You already have an election.
You already have one. You got school board, you got president.
But that's true, you already do it every 2 years.
But would
There wouldn't be anything else to add.
would there be
One more
any
thing to
chance
add.
of it being more?
No.
Just a name on the ballot.
There's no more paperwork?
Same paper, just more names on the ballot.
There'd be one more slot.
It just seems like that might be a problem. But I mean, that's just something that worries me, because I'm thinking, if I'm out of food, I go in and get some more food and make it. It's like we figure it out. Like if we're out of commissioners, we're gonna figure out how to vote through it. It's not a big deal.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm not voting, I wouldn't support this because of I think it's irrational to say we need institutional knowledge and stuff. I think that's a weak argument and not valid, in my opinion, because I've heard that, but I think this is something, as well as the citizens wanting term limits, it seems like something that the citizens would support. It's staggering. When I told people we do it every 4 years, I have had people tell me, like, you do? And you don't stagger them? Like, people are surprised to hear that we don't stagger them. So, I mean, I think, to me, I guess, I'm going to vote for this and go to the full commission and decide if it pull it out. I mean, but if it goes, it's kind of, I don't know.
Can I ask one more question? Can we guarantee that it really would be pretty much a wash on financially for the citizens? Because I don't want there to be some frivolous, silly.
It's already an election going on.
Election.
There's already an election every 2 years. So.
I don't think there's any chance to. I mean, that's my biggest worry. I'm like, why would we charge extra for that, because, you know,
I think when it boils down to, if we want term limits, in order to get them to pass, this possibly, staggering it would possibly get rid of some people's argument about continuity, and we may gain some votes to get term limits. I think it's worth it to get one or two people to flip on that because they're worried about continuity, and this would answer their question on that. That's why I'll support it.
just to finish my thing, I love that argument. And out of everything I have had people say, you mean you don't do it every, like you don't stagger it. I have had that question, but that's the only one I've had. I've never had somebody against term limits, you know, really ever, but that's a good one. So I don't know, maybe I can support it. I mean, because it's like, I think it's just, whatever it is, it winds up, I think it winds up being a win for the system if we get it for the term limits. So I think.
So Commissioner Becker got an amendment. Who's second on that? Commissioner Showdown?
That was second on it, and I'm still second on it,
So, any more discussion? We're over time. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right. Next item on the agenda, I'll make a motion for, we already.
Don't we vote on the amendment?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, so I'll
We
make
did,
an
my
amendment.
bad.
I want to make an amendment.
Okay, Commissioner T.
So, speaking of term limits, I believe it would be appropriate, because we had a citizen talk about it, we've had other citizens talk about it, you've talked about it. I would like to make a motion, in this term limit, to also make it where that we don't have anyone who's a county employee or someone who's a spouse of a county employee able to run, limit
I
that.
fully support that, but I don't want to lose that in this.
Okay,
I think I'd rather do that separate. So if you want to make a motion for a separate resolution.
Okay, I make a motion that it goes on, would it go on next month, so could it be?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, point of order. I also support that, but that is not on the agenda, and it's not part of this
It's not germane to this, so.
resolution, but I would support that at a later time.
I'll be glad if you're requesting, we'll put it on the
Yes, please do
agenda
it
for
on
us.
the agenda, and I don't want to do something out of order, so I agree.
All right, so that was, speaking of what the public comments spoke about.
In order, guys.
All right, now, for the main motion with that amendment, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Item C, move to approve rule change allowing public comment on non-agenda
Second.
items. We have a motion, we have a second, we have a discussion. Commissioner Becker.
We're gonna have to discuss.
What's the proposal here? So
It basically is to any
yeah.
item that's germane to the jurisdiction of the governing body, whether, regardless of whether such matter is included on the agenda for the meeting or not.
Yeah, so I would want to make an amendment that it would, if it's not an agenda item, that it gets moved to the end of the meeting and limited to 3 minutes per speaker. So I guess that, yeah, so I'll.
And I've got an amendment on top of that one.
So if it's not an agenda item, that's my minute. If it's not an agenda item, it's at the end, it goes to the end of the meeting at 3 minutes per speaker.
Yeah, that's fine, I'll just second it. I don't,
Amendment on second, Commissioner Show, do you have
that's fine, yeah.
Commissioner Jones, do you want to speak to that? Or you speaking to
You
the
amending
amendment?
that yet?
I was going to, but I'm fine with it.
Are you speaking with the amendment or the main motion?
On the amendment.
Okay.
So I wouldn't support it as it's stated. I would be in favor of the non-agenda items being 3 minutes, but I would still want them to be at the beginning so that people don't have to sit for 3 hours, sometimes 4, to be able to speak to a non-agenda item.
Is that an amendment? To the amendment?
Yes.
I can suppose I can just do one at a time. I'll do, my first amendment would be,
3 minutes.
instead of 5 minutes, it's 3 minutes. That's my
The
first
non-agenda.
amendment. For a non-agenda item,
Go ahead.
Yeah,
3 minutes.
I'll second that.
So, restate the motion, to basically, public speaking to non-agenda items, limited to 3 minutes. We have a motion by Commissioner Becker and a second.
I want to clarify that also is, and I don't know how you want to word it, but in the cases where it was on the agenda and got removed during the meeting, I would want those to still be able to do 5. But if it's an absolutely non-agenda item, wasn't on there at all.
I think we can clarify that.
That's not in our rules, though. I think we give grace at the chairman level for that. So Mr. Hyde's always helped.
Restate your motion is one, public speaking to non-agenda items.
Correct.
Limited to 3 minutes. And if an item is pulled off the agenda, the public still has 5 minutes.
Correct. If it was previously on this.
Or up to 5 minutes. Our rule to say is the discretion of the chair.
Sure.
Up to 5 minutes.
Up to 5.
Mr. Walker.
If I could just offer something here, I've seen this used in other places and have read some research on it. And what they do at the beginning of the meeting is they actually have two separate sign-up sheets, an agenda sheet and a non-agenda sheet. And then it states on the sheets that what will be before the meeting, what will be after the meeting, the timelines and all of that. And then if it is on the agenda to go to the point of it being removed, they still will have signed up because it will not have been removed until the commission actually sits down and approves the agenda. So you'll still have them on the agenda item list anyway.
Well,
So
the way our rules are right now, we can prevent them from speaking. So
no, I get that. I'm saying as part of implementing this, if it were to pass.
yeah,
It'll be like what we have.
yeah, agenda items are 5 minutes. If it gets pulled off an agenda, you still have 5 minutes. If an item gets pulled off an agenda, the public came there to speak, they still can speak to that agenda item. We're writing that into the rules.
Yes.
That's just, and then to the non-agenda item sign-uppers, when it's fine having two sign-up sheets, they have up to 3 minutes to speak at the discretion of the chair.
Correct. I was just saying
If we have 300 people
your
that speak,
agenda list is
sign
going to
up.
be your catch-all because
You might get 30 seconds. That's the discretion of the chair. But by standard, we're 5 minutes, 3 minutes. We're setting that standard, but with the caveat at the discretion of the chair.
I agree. I was just merely pointing out that you're going to catch these people anyway because they don't know what's off the agenda yet. So it will catch itself, so we can put that in the resolution as well.
Great idea.
It might be redundant, but I'm okay with redundancy.
Yeah.
I'm okay with Commissioner Becker's language as it is, or some form of it. Commissioner Miller.
I just have a question. So does it go for committee and for full commission?
No.
This is full commission.
Or just
Just
full
full commission right now.
Do we have that hammered out and clarified? Because I don't want it to bite
That's
us.
full commission
Okay.
for non-agenda items.
So, I don't think I'm against the 3-minute thing because, it takes a long time, but I think part of the reason why it takes a long time is because we take a long time and we're awkward and we're difficult and all of us, myself included. And I just think that, I don't think the citizens should have to limit their speech if we get up there and just spew out anything we want to spew. So I feel like that, yes, I get it, and if it's like 4 million people, then maybe that is something that could be discretion of the chair. But I feel like that if something, like the issue, this is the reason why it's important, is if we come up there and we feel like we have the power, some power, and we put something on there that's very important that people don't have a chance to sign up for, number one. Or if we take something off that people just wanted to speak on. Mr. Hyde's been wonderful about letting folks still speak. I think that's a wonderful thing. But I think that the problem is that people don't have an opportunity. There might be something very important. Some things do take longer than 3 minutes to explain. I don't know that there's got to be some kind of a, continuity on it, but I think that's my one reservation. I'm saying, is it okay to say, okay, this person's limited, because maybe they're speaking on something that's far more important than anything that we have chosen to put on the agenda anyway. So, I don't know, I kind of could go back and forth and argue against that, because I think they have more of a right to speak than we do. So, I don't know, that's just that.
If I could address that, Mr. Chairman, the reason why I agreed, I was actually thinking about this before the meeting too, but I support his amendment for the 3 minutes, because if a citizen doesn't know how to get a hold of their county commissioner, they're having trouble with their county commissioner, they just cannot get them to listen. This gives them an opportunity to give a snapshot of something, a preview of something that may be a bigger story, but they can get out and tell the world about. But they got 3 minutes to do it. It's an abridged version, and hopefully, if it's important enough, they can get some good talking points in there so that 24 people out of them, somebody will take it up, and it'll come up on a committee meeting next month, or they'll reach out to them and make a bigger deal about it with a phone call. This 3 minutes should be enough for them to convey what this topic is about. They don't have to get into the weeds about everything, but it's an introduction.
Commissioner
Or
Shevitz.
something they're frustrated about.
I'm trying to move forward. Commissioner Shevitz, on the amendment or main motion? It's on, you know what, I'll hold it up, because it's not a motion. All right, we have the main, do I need to restate it, or are you guys clear? The main motion is to, non-agenda items, 3 minutes. Full agenda items, still 5 minutes, and if an item gets pulled, they still have the full 5 minutes to speak on that agenda. Well, that's the amendment, not the motion. That's the amendment.
Are we taking chairman's discretion out of that now?
No, that's still, that's not in this right here. That's part of our rules. It talks about, I actually time limit, so the commission chairs on page 48, number 4, commission chairs authorize and impose a time limit of 5 minutes per speaker during public comment, including comments germane to both agenda and non-agenda items. So that is, so that's.
It's not less than 5 then. It's not his discretion. We've just always he's always been graceful about letting them do it if it got pulled. I want to know if we're rewriting something or if we're keeping it the same.
Common sense to me has always been,
Up to 5 minutes.
Yeah, you don't force someone to speak for 5 minutes.
No, I'm saying chairman's discretion was you can limit it less than 5 minutes is what I thought.
Yeah.
Or you can say, it's not on the agenda, I'm not gonna let you talk. Are we taking that and changing that, or is it staying the same?
To me, it's staying the same as what it's always been.
Okay, as long as it's clear that it's staying the same.
Clear to me, but if it's not clear to you guys, offer it.
You've got, if it passes, we've got 2 weeks to make sure the language is good before.
Well, we can always.
Okay.
Anyway, any further discussion on Commissioner Becker's amendment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Second amendment is.
I'm all about second amendment.
Is my next amendment would be to move the non-agenda items to the end of the meeting. That's my
I'm going to second that.
Okay, second.
And all those of that, go ahead, Commissioner Tucker.
I am completely against that, but I'm not swaying, just because the thing is I've seen commissioners get up and leave, and I don't want that to happen. I've seen citizens leave. I don't want something to be non-important, and we gotta wait it out, but I think it's important that we put it in the same spot so people can hear it, because the last thing we need is to cast more shadow on whatever it is that they want to do.
Commissioner Shelton, that's your name. So, I'm gonna quote our esteemed chairman, as he said many times, that we live in a republic, not a democracy. And a representative Republican form of government, you have your representatives. And if we don't do what they like, they can vote us out. Now, I'm for this idea that there's no say here, that folks don't have any say, that is a democratic argument. And by the way, on several occasions, there have been people who tried to speak non-agenda items. I've voted to allow it every time. So I'm all about giving folks the opportunity to redress their government, and it is in the state constitution that the opportunity for redress is an inherent right. So but at the same time, we have to actually execute things, and so it is possible if you were to open this up. I'm going to explain why I'm for putting it at the end. If we were to not put this at the end, let us say that 100 people, you can get 100 people to come and speak for 3 minutes on an item totally outside of the agenda for no other reason than to gum up the works of government. You know what that is? That is democracy. That is not republic. Because it is those 100 people do not represent the 225,000. You can probably most people in here can go find 100 people to go and cause a problem. And so I want those 100 people to be able to speak by all means. But what I don't want is for folks to be able to weaponize a rule in order to destroy or gum up or prevent good and orderly government business. So that's why I'm for this.
So, I was concerned about somebody gumming up the business of the night, but also just a person getting up there and ranting about nothing, because I've seen that happen at Hendersonville, before Mayor Almond.
To the body of the.
That's what I was reading here. It says, germane to the jurisdiction of the governing body. So is there a place in there where the chairman could get things back into control if something like that were happening, it was clear that it was not germane, or could we change that language to where you see what's happening and you make a motion to get to the orders of the day and get back to the business on the agenda?
I think it's very clear to me. I don't have any problem with it.
No, I'm saying if we kept it at the beginning, that would protect us from what he's fearful about.
I mean,
That is a real possibility we're just talking about. If somebody wanted to do a protest and hire 100 people to come up there and speak for 3 minutes, it could happen. That's the direction I see this county going. I definitely see it could happen.
But it's germane to the jurisdiction of the county legislative body.
So that would be your control to keep that from happening, is what I'm asking. You think we got language in there to protect against that?
No, it's somebody can't come up and start complaining about Hendersonville. Board of Mayor and Alderman, the deer population in Hendersonville. They can't come to the county commission and talk about that.
I'm not worried about that.
I mean, I'm just saying, that's what that means. It's germane. This is going through the state legislature. I mean, it's common, to be able to do this regardless of what. So we just got to get ahead of the curve. It's going to happen.
It's just about whether we do it at the beginning or the end.
Sure. I mean, I'm for the beginning, but I mean, I'm not going to be in favor of the end. But I might not get overruled and lose on that. So. But vote your conscience.
So hopefully this will clear it up. I understand what everybody's saying, but I still have to argue that it's not democracy to allow people to speak. I don't believe that is. I believe that, we're elected to vote. I understand the thought behind it. But if we're going down that road, I'll do the same thing that I did earlier. I'll give an example. Then if you could pay 100 people to come out and speak on something that is a non-agenda item, you could pay 100 people to come out and speak on something that's an agenda item. We're surely going to have at least something on the agenda. So, and they get to talk for 5 minutes on that one, so it's a little easier. You can, get a few people less, if you really wanted to speak on that. You get 40% less, I guess you'd say, in order to drum up the same amount of lengthy discussion. So I don't think that's I understand it, and it is a pain. It is the thought of it, just as a human. But as an elected official, it's not a pain. We have to represent. So, I mean, therefore, if somebody wants to speak and they want to make me exhausted, and we're here until the middle of the morning, I mean, we're already here that long because we all talk too much, but myself included. And so I just really believe that we got to get back and make the main thing the main thing. And if they want to speak on something that does say it needs to be germane to something we can even vote on, but I just think that that's not an argument, because you could bring out people for the same thing and just speak on an agenda item.
It's not germane to something we can vote on.
It's what it says.
Anyway, well,
Germane to the
we're over our time a lot. We got a budget meeting, so if we can, I'm just asking us, can we wrap this conversation up? I think we know how we're going to vote on this. So we got an amendment. I'll restate the amendment is to move non-agenda items towards at the end of the meeting, conclusion of business. Speak to that. Is that right? And so we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Opposed. So it's 42. So we'll give another chance again in 2 weeks, Mr. Becker. That fails to pass. Now, one final motion on this.
Main motion.
The main motion is to adopt this as amended by 3 minutes on non-agenda items. Motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Tisha. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Motion carries. All right. Item E, Corson. We have a Corson. We are security. I'll make a motion to discuss.
Well, we haven't done the rule change deferred.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Item D, I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Which one?
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Item E, Corson Fire and Security. Should have read your agendas before we got to the meeting. Corson Fire and Security. Item E, I'll make a motion to discuss.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Mr. Roberts. What is this?
We deal with Corson on, several different departments, and there's always contract renewals coming up, so instead of us going line by line on each one that comes up, we've gotten with Corson and done a mutual agreement that overrides each individual when we sign, that gets us all on the same terms we need to be on at the, offset.
Is this gonna break anything if we defer this for if we move this to old business for 1 month?
We just got other contracts to approve, but we can
I'm gonna
do those individually.
Just because we just got this and we're running short on time, I'd like to give it due time. I want to make a motion to move this to old business.
Second.
1 month.
All right, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Keep on hold business.
Motion group approve, teenager D.
Second.
Motion is second, all fair side?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, adjourn.